Good evening.
Good evening, ma.
Screen is visible.
Yes, ma.
Okay. Hi everyone. This is Himanshu. This is the week 7 tutorial for the course Introduction to Cell Biology course. Let's start. Today course is about the endomembrane system, right? So the first question for today's tutorial is, what is the role of Golgi apparatus in cells? Option A is carbohydrate synthesis, option B is lipid metabolism, option C is ATP production, and option D is processing and sorting of proteins.
Option D, ma.
Okay, okay, Ashwarya is saying option D. So, anyone else who wants to answer for this question? Anyone else? Okay, let's see the answer. You are right. Processing and sorting of protein is the right answer. So, what is this Golgi apparatus? This Golgi and let's first see what is the endomembrane system. This Golgi apparatus and endoplasmic reticulum all are the part of. Wait a minute. Sorry. Okay. So let's first see what is this endomembrane system, right? So, this endomembrane system, this Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, all are the part of this endomembrane system, and it is a group of membranes and organelles in eukaryotic cells. These endomembrane system is not present in the prokaryotic cells; it is present in the eukaryotic cells. So that work together, and these whole endomembrane system work together like all the organelles which includes inside this endomembrane system, they work together to modify, package and transport the lipids and proteins. Like in the last stage, like if the proteins were formed and lipids were formed, but they have to be placed in their right place. These all work done by the this endomembrane system, and in the endomembrane system these is done by the which organelles, this Golgi apparatus, right? This processing and sorting of proteins is done by the which organelle, this Golgi apparatus, and this system is crucial for maintaining the cellular organization and also for the function, and it includes several components like such as ER, that is endoplasmic reticulum, and based on the ribosomes present on this ER, we further divide it into the two types, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Anyone wants to tell the difference between rough and smooth endoplasmic reticulum? You people know?
Endoplasmic reticulum with the ribosome is called rough,
Hmm.
and the other is called smooth.
Yeah, right. So rough have this ribosomes and smooth don't have this ribosome presence. Lysosome, vesicles, and the cell membranes. All of these parts are involved in the synthesis, processing, and transport of cellular materials. So this is the process of the sorting, like how they do the sorting. There will be this modifications, glycosylation present. So after the glycosylation and linked, or whether it is all linked, it they will sort these proteins, and then further, like wherever they have to transport, and they will transport those proteins. So these sorting of proteins will be done by this Golgi apparatus. So any doubt?
No, ma.
Okay, let's move. Okay, this is another diagram for like how they do the sorting and transport the proteins. This is the lumen of the Golgi apparatus. Protein bound to the different destinations carrying the distinct tags. Like how do they decide? Like these protein, whether this protein is the secreted protein, or whether this is the cytosolic proteins, or this is the outside like plasma membrane proteins. Basically, these protein have some tags. That tag is specific, like wherever they have to go. So these protein bound to the different destination. How? Because they carry the distinct tag, right? Like ID card, because everyone have their unique ID card. Like that, they have these tags present. So once these protein bound to the, like once these protein have this distinct tag, uh, then these protein will sort. After the sorting, they transport the vesicle buds. Vesicle buds will form and it will transport. Uh, and then cytosolic and membrane proteins cause transport vesicle to attach and fuse their destination. Sorry. So basically, how sorting will be done, like once these protein will tag by the specific tag, because tag is very necessary, like where they have to go. Otherwise, without the tag, these protein they'll degrade by the lysosome, and this lysosome will take up, or maybe autophagosome will happen, or maybe it will degrade by itself, like ubiquitin mediated degradation. It will depend upon, right? So next question is Golgi apparatus. Is option is a membraneless structure. Option B is a tubular network. Option C is a consist of a flattened membranous sac, and option D is a set of lamin fibers. What do you think? Like what will be the
Option C, ma.
okay? Option C. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am. Option C.
Okay, option C. Anyone else want to answer for this question? Whoever present in the class, try to answer like for all the questions. Like it's not necessary you have to like say correctly. Will it's fine. At least try to answer. Okay, let's see. Option C is the correct answer, right? It consists of the flattened membranous sac. And what is this flattened membranous sac? These are the flattened membranous sac, right? And these flattened sac structure of the Golgi apparatus, what it will do, it optimize the surface area, and we called it as a cistern also, right? It optimize the surface area, and because also it ensures the proper compartmentalization and facilitate the transport and modification of proteins and lipids, allow, so that it will allow the organelle to perform its function effectively, right? So it Golgi apparatus, one of the characteristic feature of this organelle is it is consist of this flattened membranous sac. We called it as cisternae, right? So this is the diagram of the Golgi apparatus. So there is a two phases, like one is a cis, where this protein will come, and then modification will occur, and then this is a trans phase. Or in the trans phase, there is this secretory vesicles, and here incoming transport vesicles, and these incoming transport vesicle come from the endoplasmic reticulum. They synthesize the protein and then they send these proteins to the Golgi apparatus, and through the cis phase they will take this proteins, and then there will be modifications occurs. Like the main function of the Golgi apparatus is like modification, glycosylation and all, and after that it have to sort that and also the tagging and all, and through the transphase, through the secretory vesicles, they'll secrete the proteins to their desired location, right? So the next question is, which of the following statement about the Golgi apparatus is not true? Option A is the transphase of Golgi sort proteins. Option B is microtubules play a major role in organization of Golgi apparatus. Option C is Golgi is a membrane-bound organelle. Option D is Golgi is involved in regulation of mRNA synthesis. So you have to tell like which statement is not true.
And option D.
Okay. Option D. Anyone else?
Ma'am, option D.
Okay. Two of you are saying option D. Option D. It's okay. Okay. Let's see. You're right. Option D is the correct answer. So let's see one by one how option D is the correct answer. That is like which is not the true statement about the Golgi apparatus. The first statement is saying the transphase of the Golgi sort proteins, right? So we know that the Golgi apparatus has two main phases. One is the cis phase, and cis phase receive the vesicle, that is receiving vesicle, which contains the proteins, and these proteins synthesized by the which organelle, this endoplasmic reticulum, right? So this cis phase receive the vesicles containing the proteins from the ER, and the second is the trans phase, which short and send out modified protein to their final destination, right? So the trans phase of Golgi sort protein, this is the right statement because it's the trans phase which short and send the proteins to their final destination, such as lysosome, or whether they have to send to the plasma membrane, or whether it's a secretory proteins. So depending upon the destination, this will send out the proteins to their desired location. And the transphase is responsible for the sorting and packaging protein into the vesicles. And these vesicles we called it as transporting vesicles. So these will help like to send the proteins to their desired location. So this statement is true. The second statement is microtubules play a major role in organization of Golgi apparatus. Microtubule. In the last class, and also we studied about the cytoskeleton. There we see like what are these microtubules and what are the function of this microtubules. Basically, all the cytoskeleton made by this microtubules, right? So, is this microtubule also help in the organization of Golgi apparatus? As we know, these microtubules are critical for maintaining the structure and positioning of like almost all the things inside the cells, and also this Golgi apparatus within the cells. As we know, this Golgi is typically located near the nucleus, right? And its organization and even its stability depend upon the microtubules, which help anchor it and assist in the transport of vesicles to and from the Golgi. Like whether these vesicles like initially it attach to the transphase and then they have to detach it and then send the proteins. So how it will happen? Like there will be polymerization and depolymerization of these microtubules, alpha and beta tubulin proteins, that will decide whether budding off will happen or like what will happen. So these transport of vesicles also these microtubule also help in assisting the vesicles, like whether they have to transport it now, or whether the budding of will happen now, or whether like it will all depend upon the microtubules. So there is a major contribution by these microtubules, right? Then option C is Golgi is a membrane bound organelle. Yeah, Golgi apparatus is indeed a membrane bound organelle because it consists of a membrane bound flattened sac, and we called it as cisternae. And as in the previous slide also we saw that it these cisternae allow it to compartmentalization and efficiently modify and transport the proteins and lipid within the cell, right? Next is Golgi is involved in the regulation of mRNA synthesis. We know that the mRNA synthesis occur in the nucleus, where the transcription of DNA into RNA take place. Golgi only involved in the protein modification, sorting, and trafficking. They don't have any role in the regulation of mRNA synthesis. So you people were right. Option D were the correct answer. Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Next question. Tunicamycin is an antibiotic that inhibits the synthesis of carbohydrate. Which of the following organelle activity will be affected by tunicamycin? Tunicamycin. So the option A is Golgi apparatus, option B is mitochondria, option C is endoplasmic reticulum, and option D is lysosome. So anyone wants to answer for this?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
endoplasmic reticulum.
Okay. Endoplasmic reticulum. Anyone else? Anyone else who wants to answer for this question? Here they are saying this is the antibiotic that inhibit the synthesis of carbohydrate. Like, read carefully. You like even if
Option C, ma'am.
option C. Okay. Even like okay. Let's see. Okay, let's see the answer. Right, endoplasmic reticulum. Like how this antibiotic help like inhibit the synthesis of carbohydrate. Tunicamycin is an antibiotic that specifically inhibit the synthesis of N-linked glycoproteins by blocking the N-linked glycosylation. Even this like N-linked glycosylation, we know that it is a very critical process in which carbohydrates are attached to the proteins. These these process will start in the ER, but it also go in the Golgi apparatus, right? So Golgi apparatus, like why Golgi apparatus is not the answer for this question, because it like it basically these it is under uh, it is the main step which start through the endoplasmic reticulum, like there it is linked with like indirectly like later on stages. So that's why we are not considering this Golgi apparatus wal option. So the glycosylation is an important step which help in the proper folding, stability, and function of many proteins. So this is the basic structure of this tunicamycin, which inhibit the synthesis of the carbohydrate and basically the N-linked glycosylation step. So ER is the right answer. Let's move to the next question. Rough ER is abundant in cells that option A synthesize amino acids, option B secrete proteins, option C secrete lipids, option D synthesize nucleotides. Rough ER.
Option B, ma'am.
Okay. Anyone else?
Secrete proteins, ma'am.
Okay. Two of you are saying secrete proteins. Anyone else? Okay, let's see. You were right. Option B is the right answer. Secrete proteins. As we know that rough, like why this surface is rough because of the presence of the ribosomes. So rough endoplasmic reticulum is characterized by the presence of ribosome on its surface. Right, because like one of the characteristic features and the difference between rough and smooth is the presence or absence of ribosome. Because in case of rough endoplasmic reticulum, these ribosomes are present on its surface. But in case of smooth endoplasmic reticulum, these ribosomes are absent. And these ribosomes are mainly involved in the synthesis of the proteins. And here also they are asking that it is abundant in the cells which synthesize the proteins, because the main function of the ribosome is to synthesize the protein. And where it is mainly found, these rough ER is particularly abundant in cells that produce and secrete proteins such as pancreatic cells. It is present like very abundant amount. Even in plasma cells, and endocrine cells, pancreatic cells, because it have to secrete digestive enzymes, like whenever we have to eat, like it have to secrete in regular basis, right? And also the plasma cells which have to secrete the antibodies, and endocrine cells which secrete protein hormones. So it is abundant in those type of cells which have to synthesize proteins, right? So the next question is the endoplasmic membrane, which is associated with ribosomes, is called. Option A is rough endoplasmic reticulum, option B is smooth, and option C is riboendoplasmic reticulum, and option D is ER lumen.
Option A, ma'am.
Okay. Anyone else?
A, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, it's very easy question. Rough endoplasmic reticulum is the right answer. So this is the SAM image of the RER. Okay. This is a SAM image, that is scanning electron microscope. Basically, we have two types of microscope, right? SAM and TAM. Like if we want to see the surface of anything, then we will go for the SAM, that is scanning electron microscopy, and another one is the TAM, that is TEM, transmission electron microscopy. If we want to study the internal structure of any cells, then we'll go with the this TAM, that is transmission electron microscopy. So because we want to see whether the ribosomes are present or not, so like we have to study the surface study, right? So this is the SAM, so we will do the SAM for that one. So we this is the image done by the researcher. They do this SAM, and then they see that the ribosomes are present to the cell, this REI. So the endoplasmic reticulum that is associated with ribosomes, we called it as rough endoplasmic reticulum. The ribosomes attached to its surface give it a rough appearance under a microscope, and these ribosomes are responsible for synthesizing the proteins. Right? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Next question. Lysosomes are called suicidal bag of the cells because option A is they can digest the carbohydrate. Option B is they carry hydrolytic enzymes which can wait, sorry. Okay, sorry. दी अभी नहीं, अभी मेरी क्लास चल रही है, 1 घंटे पता चलना। ओके। Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, okay, so the next question is lysosomes are called the suicidal bag of the cells because option A is they can digest the carbohydrate, option B is they carry the hydrolytic enzymes which when released into the cytoplasm and can kill the cells. Option C is they can fuse with endosomes and option D is they can recycle the waste generated in the cells. So what will be the right answer for this question?
Ma'am, B option.
Okay, option B. Anyone else?
Option B,
Option
ma'am.
B, ma'am.
Okay. So many of you are saying option B. Let's see. You were right. That the option B is the right answer. That is, they carry the hydrolytic enzymes, which, when released into the cytoplasm, and can kill the cells. This is the lysozyme structures. Like they can help in digesting the food also because they contain the enzymes also, like they can digest the organelle also, like if the organelle is not functioning properly, and so they'll digest those organelles, right? And even they can digest the cells also. And why we called it as suicidal bag? Because they can digest themselves also, right? Lysosome. So that's why we called it as suicidal bag. And they contain this hydrolytic enzymes. It will release into the cytoplasm and then it will kill the cells. Right. The next question is a major component of vacuoles is option A is water, option B is a hydrolytic enzymes, option C is a acid phosphatases, and option D is a aldolase. Like major component.
Option A, ma'am.
Water, ma'am.
Option A.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, you people are right. Water is a major component of the vacuoles. This is the basic structure of the vacuoles. It is a membrane-bound sac. It is used for storage of water and food. And in case of plant cells, like wait, okay, sorry. This is not a vacuole structures. It's a cell structures in which vacuoles are also present. But in case of plant cells, typically there is a very large and central vacuole is present. But in case of animal cells, there are many vacuoles are present. And the major component of this vacuole is like water. Like mostly it contains this water, right? Which of the following statement about vacuoles is not true? Option A is vacuoles provide turgidity and rigidity to the plant cells. Option B is vacuoles help maintain osmotic pressure in the cells. Option C is vacuoles store toxic metabolic byproducts and thus protect the cells. And option D is vacuoles regulate cell division and help in plant growth. So you have to tell which statement is not true.
Ma'am, option D.
Option B.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, let's see. Option D is the right answer. That is, vacuoles regulate cell division and help in plant growth. This is not the true statement. First is like what is this vacuoles are, like how it help in maintaining the turgidity and rigidity to the plant cells. So these vacuoles are the large central structures because they are asking and they are telling about this plant cells, and we know that the plant cell have a very large and the central structures present that is filled with the water and also solutes, and they help in maintaining the turgor pressure because inside this water is present, which help in maintaining the turgor pressure, which is essential for maintaining the turgidity and rigidity of plant cells, so that it will this, because we know that the plant, they have very high weight and they have to stand upright like in very standing condition, and we know that the plant cells mostly have this water only. So because of the, so that the turgor pressure will create, and these turgor pressure help the plant to remain the, so that it will stand alone in the upright condition, right? So this is right that the vacuoles provide turgidity and rigidity to the plant cells. Second is, well, vacuoles help maintain osmotic pressure in the cells. Osmotic pressure, like what is this osmotic pressure? Osmotic pressure is the pressure created by the solute, right? And we know that the vacuoles contain the water plus solute also, right? So vacuoles maintain the osmotic pressure by storing water, ion and solute, so that which regulate the water balance in the plant cell and prevent the wilting, because we know that through the diffusion process, we know that if there is a very high water, and in another, if there is a less, then it will move, like, but how it can maintain through this osmotic pressure, because the solute particles present inside the vacuoles, they'll generate one pressure, so that these solvent will not move outside the cells, right? So these vacuole maintain osmotic pressure by storing the ions and solute, which help regulate the water balance. So solvent means water, so that it will regulate this water balance in the plant cells and prevent the wilting. Otherwise these wilting will happen, right? Because the plant cell contain that much water like inside, like in the vacuoles also. So like what, because it have a very high pressure and it have a very low solvent pressure, then it can move from high to low, but like how it will be prevented by, it prevent by this osmotic pressure, right? Which is maintained by this solute particle, so that it will regulate the water balance in the plant cell and prevent the wilting, right? Next is vacuole store toxic metabolic byproduct and thus protect the cells. Vacuole act as a storage compartment, right? For toxic metabolic byproduct or waste substance. Why they do so? Because so that they can keep them away from the cytoplasm and protecting the cells from the potential damage. So this is also true. So all three statements are true. So one statement is there, so this is a not correct. Like vacuoles regulate cell division and help in plant growth. No, vacuoles never help in the cell division and plant grow. Like they contribute only like expansion of the cells by accumulating the water and also the cell enlargement. Enlargement they help, like, and also the cell expansion, but not in the next step like in the division. So they don't have any direct role in the regulation of cell division. Any doubt?
No, ma.
Okay. Next is cell sap is. Option A is the cytoplasm of plant cell. Option B is the fluid in plant vacuoles. Option C is the fluid in the nucleus of plant cells. Option D is the lumen of plant ER cell sap is? Anyone? Cell sap.
Ma'am, option A, I guess.
Okay,
Ma'am, option C.
okay. Uh, okay. Let's see the answer. Option B is the correct answer. The cytoplasm of plant cells. We can't call it as cell sap. We called it as cytoplasm only. Right? The fluid in the nucleus of plant cells. The fluid in the nucleus, we never say this is the cell sap. Right? The lumen of plant ER, we call it as lumen. But the fluid in plant vacuoles, we called it as cell sap. And this is the structure of the plant cell central vacuole, in which the outer covering we called it as tonoplast, and this is the central vacuole, and the outside, the fluid present inside this vacuole, we called it as cell sap. Right? So cell sap is the fluid present inside the plant vacuoles. The next question is, organelles of the endomembrane system are stable and static. Is this a right statement or a false? What you people think? Organelles of the endomembrane system. Hello? Am I audible?
Ma'am, true.
Okay. True. Anyone else? Okay, let's see. Um, it's a organelles of the endomembrane system are stable and static. No, it's a false statement because they are always in dynamic situation, so that they experience a continuous flux while they perform the regular activities inside the cells. Right? Uh, like in uh, because in the endomembrane system, if they have to be in very dynamic structure, like in endomembrane system will include ER, Golgi and all, because ER also, it's not like it's have they have to face a continuous flux, so that the proteins, like protein, there will be vesicles also there, we know that, budding off and budding in, like here the transporting vesicles come, not transporting, this storage vesicles come from the ER, and it will come to the cis phase and it will fuse, right? So there is a continuous flux. It will fuse to this Golgi. So it's not a static. And here also, like after the modification of the proteins, we know that these secretory vesicles will bud out, right? It will come out from these transvesical structures, so that it will secrete the proteins. So it's not a stable, it's a dynamic in natures, and it experience a continuous flux, so that it will help in sorting and modification of the proteins and transporting those protein into the desired location, right? Any doubt?
Ma'am, but what is the role of microtubules then? Aren't the
Microtube.
microtubules keeping them the organelles in place?
Oh, microtubules, like the cytoskeleton of anything in the cells, it is made up of microtubules, right? Because like it is made up of microtubules, these organelles, and like these secretory vesicles is there. These polymerization, depolymerization happens. These also help in the like yeah, budding out and all. But if we talk about the complete organelles, it is also not in the static function, right? Because part of these organelles, because of the continuous flux and also it's experiencing, it is also not in the static condition, right? Even these microtubules, so microtubules, we know it is an inherent capacity, right? It have inherent capacity, like it's always in dynamic nature. But these organelles also have to take off, right? Are you getting?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Or I'll look into more about this and we'll discuss in the next class. Okay. Nice question, like interesting.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
microtubule also we can like, it's dynamic in nature, but I'm guessing maybe because this part is also coming and adding to, maybe it's because of that. Like we'll discuss in the next class also. Next, there are how many types of secretory activities of a cell in a cell? Option is one, two, three, four. How many types of secretory activities of a cell? It's a memory based question. You people can try, at least try to answer. There are how many types of secretory activities of a cell? Anyone?
Ma'am, option B, but actually I don't know the answer. It's option B.
Okay. Anyone else? You people try to answer, like whoever in the class. You people can discuss. Like we'll see. This is a memory based question, so it's okay. Two is the right answer. Shruth was right that two is the right answer. That secretory activity leads to the discharge of protein that is synthesized in the ER, and there are two types of a secretory activities of a cells. One is constitutive secretion and one is regulated. Constitutive secretion, that in a constantly manner, like all the time it is secreted, right? And another one is regulated. As the name suggests, it is like regulated secretion. So there are two types of secretory activities of cells. That is, one is constitutive and another one is regulated secretion. Right. Next question is, which of the following biomolecules are which of the following biomolecules are contained in the lysosome? Option A is nucleic acid. Option B is ribonucleic acid. Option C is proteins. And option D is polysaccharide.
Right.
Which of the following biomolecules are contained in the lysosome? Anyone? Lysosome contains what? Anyone was anyone wants to answer for this question? Like in the lysosome, what it contains inside the lysosome? In the previous slide, also we discussed that the lysosome contains what?
Protein.
Yeah, proteins, hydrolytic enzymes, right? And what these hydrolytic enzymes is made up of? Proteins, right? We know that lysosome contains what? Hydrolytic enzymes, right? And these enzymes is made up of what? Proteins. So which of the following biomolecules are contained in the lysosome is proteins, right? Any doubt? Shall I move to the next question? Array respond. Okay. Which type?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next question is which type of signals direct the protein to their appropriate cellular destination? Option A is sorting signals. Option B is apoptotic signals. Option C is ubiquitination. Option D is degradation signals. Which which type of signal direct the proteins to their appropriate cellular destination?
Option A, ma'am. Sorting signal.
Okay. Anyone else?
Option A, ma'am.
Okay. Two of you are saying option A. Okay, what is apoptotic signals? What this signal will help?
Ma'am, signals for cellular death, I think.
Yeah, yeah, signals for cellular death. And what kind of cellular death? We called it as programmed cell death. So apoptosis is a process in which a programmed cell death occurs, right? And what is this ubiquitination? Have you ever heard ubiquitination?
No, ma'am, but the word that it is ubiquitous, that the signals are present everywhere, I think.
No, no. Ubiquitin, there is a protein that ubiquitin, which when attached to some proteins, then it like whenever this ubiquitin group attached to any one proteins, that means this protein now it will go for degradation, right? So ubiquitination process help in the protein degradation. So ubiquitination is a process in which they direct the protein for their degradation, right? So that's why like if the degradation, like if any protein have to go and undergo the degradation process, then like if this ubiquitin is attached, that means this protein have to go undergo the degradation, and degradation signals is also for the degradation only, right? So which in the question they are asking to direct the protein to appropriate cellular destination. So in the last, like in the previous slide, first slide also, we see that if the protein have to go to their desired location, we call it as sorting, right? So this, the type of signals that direct the proteins, we call this signals called as a sorting signals. So this sorting signals encoded in amino acid sequence, and like basically this signals is like in, this is the proteins, and here at the end terminal of the proteins, because we know that through the Golgi apparatus it will come through the N terminals. There is a N and there is a C terminal, right? N is amino and C is a carboxy terminal. So in this N terminal, there is some peptide sequence. We called it as a signal sequence, or we called it as sorting signal. So these sorting signals encoded in an amino acid sequence. So these signal basically in the form of amino acid sequences, right, of proteins or in the attached sugar molecule are responsible for directing the proteins to their appropriate cellular destination. Like in the slide also we mentioned, because protein have to be there, like one proper tag will be there, right? So after the tag, they find like this is the protein where they have to go. For that, they have to be present this tag, or we call this sorting signals. Basically some amino acid sequence is present at the end terminal, we call it as a signal sequences, right? And this is the conserved sequences, like which decide whether it have to go lysosome or whether it have to go where, right? So we called it as sorting signals. Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So the next question is, which of the following is not completely synthesized in Golgi complex of a cell? Option A is pectin, option B is hemicellulose, option C is N-linked oligosaccharides, and option D is all linked oligosaccharides. Which of the following is not completely synthesized in the Golgi complex of a cell? Not completely. Anyone? Anyone wants to answer for this question? Hello. Okay, let's see. N-linked oligosaccharide, because it start in the endoplasmic reticulum, right? Pectin and hemicellulose found in the plant cell, right? As well as O-linked oligosaccharides, all these all are completely synthesized in the Golgi complex. But this N-linked oligosaccharide, sorry, not this one, these N-linked oligosaccharides, it start in the ER, endoplasmic reticulum, and then it will go in the Golgi apparatus, right? But it basically start in the go- ER, that is endoplasmic reticulum, and then it will go in the Golgi complex, which synthesize. Any doubt? Okay, moving to the next question. After the digestive process in an autophagolysosome is over, it is termed as option A is autophagosomes, option B is residual body, option C is endosome, and option D is peroxisome. After the digestive process in an autophagolysosome is over, what we termed it as. Hello. Read carefully and eliminate the options. Then you can answer for this question.
B.
Okay, option B. Anyone else?
Option B.
Okay, two of you are saying option B. Anyone else? Okay, let's see. Option B is the right answer. Right. It's very simple. Like after the digestive process is over, but will it remain residual bodies? Right. Autophagolysosome is the structure that form how it form autophagolysosome. That is lysosome and with when it wrapped with the double membranous organelles and after the digestive process but it will remain residual body and which is then ready for the exocytosis process, right? So that's all. Any doubt in any question? So next week will be your last class for this course, right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, like, if you people have any doubt, you can text me on LinkedIn, Himanshu Antil, or you can mail me also. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye bye.